Okay, so I think we're going to get started. Thank you everyone that's joined us today. We really do appreciate the fact that it is technically Easter holidays for you guys. So the fact that you've taken some time out of your day to join us is amazing. And thank you. You should feel really proud of yourselves for that. Today we've got a few people on today, actually. We've got Chris, who I'm sure over the last couple of weeks you've all got to know quite well as he's running our daily webinars. So Chris is going to say hi shortly. We're also joined by Naz from Berkeley Homes today. Naz is going to be talking to us about the top tips really for your journey into a construction apprenticeship, for those that really want to go into home building, and talking about the different trade roles that they're offering. And as some of you might recognise, we've also got Alex on the call today. Alex is our outreach manager, and he's been very, very busy calling you guys over the past 2 to 3 weeks and texting you. So if you do get a voicemail from Alex or a text, probably best to give him a tinkle back. He's there to support you with all of your applications or any information or help that you need. So Alex will be chatting to everyone a bit later as well, and I'm sure he's already seen some of our attendees that he's familiar with, so that should be quite an interesting one. Chris, I'm going to hand over to you. I know you want to do the intro part as you're an expert on this by now, so Chris, I'll hand to you first.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, hi everyone. Thursday evening pretty much, isn't it, during Easter holidays, and we've got students on a webinar. It's crazy, isn't it? But the whole point of this and why I'm on this webinar at the moment, and why we brought Alex into the team to focus on students who are wanting to get into construction and home building. I'm just really excited to find out those who want jobs in particular this summer. You know, those who want jobs in home building, I want to make sure that Alex is working with you guys to no end. So whether that's working closely with Naz and Berkeley in terms of what they're doing and getting extra support from them, basically I just am so focused on making sure that if you want a job, we are going to help you do it. And there's people that I've seen on these sort of webinars, like George was on the last one. He's just been on a session I've done around employability skills. I've had Ibad, who's pretty much on all of my webinars during the day. So 2 till 3 o'clock, Monday to Thursday, I'm doing employability skills like generally. So you guys can have access to that as well. Every Friday, well, not every Friday. Tomorrow I'm starting it. So help me out if you want to be on it. I'm doing an Instagram live where I'm going to be talking about home building. I'm going to be talking about the other aspects of running a business and what we're doing at Pathway. And you guys can ask me questions, as well as maybe recommend anyone you want us to get involved in the program and what we're doing. But the main message from me today is well done for coming onto these sort of webinars. We know who's on it, and we're going to be able to follow up with you. And my main aim is to make sure that Alex is working hard with you, and I know he's doing a brilliant job at that. And my main aim from then on is to make sure that you're getting all the support you need to help you into employment. And I want to make sure that we see some numbers this summer with students who are getting some amazing jobs, like with Berkeley Homes, who I've actually been out to their site, the buildings. I'm actually trying to buy a house at the moment, right? Like a flat, one of the things that Berkeley actually build. And it's just amazing, like how it all works. And I had no idea about that before. So get out there, visit the sites, you know, when you can, and when this COVID-19 thing stops. And we're doing everything we can to make sure that you can see the sites without having to go to the sites over COVID-19 as well. So that's it for me, really, Tracy, Alex, and Naz. I'm excited about it, and I love the fact that people are on this webinar.
Thanks, Chris. That was very uplifting. Thank you. I hope you're going to be tucking into an Easter egg when you're doing your Instagram live tomorrow.
Saving it till Sunday. Yeah.
I'm starting mine this evening. Naz, thank you so much for joining us today. I know our students are really grateful for your time. We do have some new attendees on today, Naz, so it'd be great if you could just intro yourself, tell our young people a little bit about what you do and a little bit more about Berkeley Homes.
Of course. Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. It's my first webinar, so yeah, quite exciting. So I work for Berkeley Homes West Thames. We're one of the divisions of Berkeley Homes. We've got, I always get this wrong, I think we've got about 20, just over 20 divisions within the whole group. So when you see Berkeley Homes, there's so many different divisions. We're not all the same. They're very, very different. So I'm based in West London. It's called West Thames in Southall. We have a site which with the old gasworks. It's an 88-acre site. It's a development for 25 years, and it will incorporate just under 4,000 homes, a commercial aspect, the community, as well as environmental, and also looking at transport links. We're doing a lot of work with TfL. We've got the new Crossrail Southall station will be on our site. We've also done a new entry slip road to the A3112, and also working with Heathrow, because being down the road from Heathrow, we are very conscious of the kind of impact that we have in the West London area, and the local sort of job environment. We've been on site for just over 5 years, so we've probably got another 20 odd years to go. I'm the workplace coordinator, so my role specifically is to promote and manage on-site apprenticeships, internal skills upskilling of our workforce, but I also work very closely with West London College, who we are in partnership with, who have a construction academy on our site. So it's the only one in the country that's actually on a live site. So we're very keen to ensure that we, as a group, but also as a division, continue to promote construction as a career path within the West London area, but also make available the opportunities and apprenticeships that we have on our site and with our supply chain. So that's what I do.
Fantastic. That sounds amazing. I can't wait to come back to you actually now, so we'll get cracking on that. Alex, I know you're dying to intro yourself, and I know you're already eyeing up some of the attendees and already remembering who they are. So do you want to do a bit of an intro to yourself and the cool work you've been doing at Pathway?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully I get a chance now. You can see the face to the voice or the text and so forth, but glad you've joined in. As mentioned, my role is to go out to the colleges, go in contact with yourself and be in partnership with the employers, where I'd be able to support you through, like, let's say for instance from this session, support those who need help with the recruitment process, what the employers are looking for, what the kind of help you need with CV support or applications or so forth, and just to make sure that I will be able to match you to the opportunities that's going to be given to us. So I'll be working closely with you guys throughout this period, even though we're going to be at home. I am accessible. If you need me, you know my number. I'll be speaking with you regularly, and to ensure that I can be able to help you with all the things that you need, and to make sure you match the criteria that the employers are looking for. And then, of course, even when you find a job and you are going to get the job, I'll be still keeping in contact with you. So it's constantly working with you throughout the journey and making sure that you're constantly having enough information to know what to do, what's available for you, and to give you all the resources that you require.
And that, Alex, I was just going to say, that's your background, isn't it? Like getting young people into employment, that's kind of what you're passionate about, isn't it?
Right. So I've been working for over 20 years and working with all different boroughs, all different councils and private sectors and so forth. So I've been working with colleges, further education, and my background is to make sure that I can be able to know where you are, draw an action plan, work with you towards your career goals and your jobs and so forth, and to make sure that everything that you require is going to be made available. But I need to let you know that it's a partnership. So as much as you give me, as much as I give you, and we'll be able to make possible what is available out there. And I will find those things for you. And as long as you are actively seeking, I'll be actively seeking with you as well. So yeah, you know, this is a great times, even though at the situation with the COVID-19, we are looking for the opportunities that's going to be coming. There will be an array and an influx of things to come. So stay close, stay tuned. And, you know, if you need to speak to me after or keep in contact, please, I'll be there and I'll be able to ask the questions. Even after, if I need to ask those questions with NAS or whoever, from other organizations, I'll be there, and I hopefully will be your voice in those times, okay?
That's fabulous. Thank you, Alex. I'm sure you're going to be bombarded now with all of them that are desperate to get in touch with you. So I think you may have just given up some more of your evening, but that's Alex, and he is on hand for you guys. So please use that service. It is part of this program. coaching you guys is really important to us, and to help you get through that process. So Naz, I think I'm going to move over to you now, and I think I'm going to start. I know we're looking at the top tips, but I'm also aware that a number of our students that are at construction colleges, they're doing these various trade courses. Obviously, they are feeling a little bit apprehensive now. We know sites are closing, and as much as Pathway tell them that, you know, it is for a period of time whilst COVID-19 is going on, they are going to reopen at some point. And I just wondered if you could open there, because obviously, Naz, you're very close to this. So what is it really like on the ground at the moment with these sites? And do you have any inkling about what is going to happen or what the future might look like?
Oh gosh, what a question. It's really interesting because one of the comments that I've heard is the sites, or a lot of the developers, are working or trying to work very hard to keep the sites open. A lot aren't, and they've just shut them immediately because they're not able to adhere to public health and safety standards. Berkeley are working very hard to ensure that we try and keep as many of our sites going and live as possible. Obviously, with the reduced staff, we have to be really mindful that, you know, ultimately our priority is to our staff and to our contractors, and ensuring their safety is paramount before anything else. But what we have, what I've seen is that suddenly construction is being seen as an occupation that is so needed. In a weird way, you know, we're being told that, you know, we're being needed to, construction was involved in the Nightingale Hospital, for instance. So that was put up by construction workers. There, you know, are needs of essential works that need to be carried out within, you know, just within this country's infrastructure. That's all construction work. So it's now being seen very slowly, but it's beginning to be seen as an industry, not necessarily that I would say is safe, but is very much needed and very important to the livelihood, you know, to keep people going. So that has been really positive, I think, for us. We've always had such a negative light on construction that people always want to get into construction. And I wouldn't go far as to say, you know, we're one of the emergency services, but we are definitely one of the essential industries at the moment, which is so promising. But again, we are limited with the staff that we have currently on site. Yes, like you said, this will eventually end and we will be back up again and we will be back on site. At the moment, I was looking at some figures from, I think it was HBF, basically saying that they interviewed, or they contacted over 10,000 apprenticeships across the UK, and less than 1% had been made redundant through COVID-19. So they all had been furloughed. So they were needed, they are wanted, and all the suppliers that I have spoken to in the last month have all said, no, we want our apprentices back, we want them back on site, we need this talent. And the powers that be within industry at the moment are working really hard to protect this emerging talent and to try and ensure that we still develop that. We're really concerned about how apprentices are going to complete their apprenticeships over the next 3 to 6 months, whether it is we defer them, whether they have an extra year, or employers allow an extra day a week for them to complete their assignments and their theory work. So we're really working really hard to support the apprentices within our industry, and we're not about to just let them go. You know, they're massively important to us. So, and if anything, we're hoping that this will encourage more and more people to come on board and be sort of interested and see that it's an industry that's just, you know, continually moving.
That's really positive news, and I'm sure we have a number of students that are going to feel quite relieved after hearing that. It's certainly been a subject that's been raised with us through our student email and through our phone calls. So I guess the message to take away there, Naz, is we do find ourselves in a bit of a unique situation, but it will pass at some point, and actually it might have some new growth in the construction and home building sector. So I think the message to our young people is stay engaged, stay motivated, and if you want to apply, those roles will be happening. So I think that's
definitely, you know, I mean, now more than ever, we are so looking to, you know, I know that come September, my job is just going to be ridiculous, because there'll be so many programs we need to deliver, so many, you know, jobs we need to fill. So I'm hoping in a really good way that we are going to be really, really busy, and, you know, getting things back up. It'll take a lot of work. You know, it's not going to just happen, oh, we'll go back to normal. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort and, you know, man hours to get people back on site working, and through the door.
Naz, I've got a couple of questions, and guys, remember, you can raise your hand at any time and ask questions yourself to speak to Naz, Alex, or Tracy, or myself. If I'm a student, I'm not going to college anymore. I'm probably not going to go back. Would you accept me earlier, or do I have to wait till September? You mentioned. When are you hiring?
We haven't said when we are hiring, because, I mean, obviously we're not even allowed back
No.
on site. So we haven't said, and we're not about to make any false promises. And I think any developer that does would be very, very unwise to do so. We are still looking at our supply chain and where they're at, because we're assuming that there is going to be a growth when we go back of work that needs to be done that hasn't happened over the past month or 2 months. You know, who knows, if we're allowed back on site in a month, that's only 2 months work that we haven't had to, that we've not been able to deliver, but we're still being pushed on our deadline. So, you know, there will be an increase in growth, we're hoping.
So, Alex,
then it's going to take a while for supplies to come through, for materials to come through the door. It's such a difficult question. We couldn't, you know, couldn't say.
So from Parfo's point of view, then we just got to keep in touch with the students, keep them warm,
Definitely.
and then when you're ready.
Definitely.
And one thing I want from you, Naz, if okay, could you just go through the roles that you are offering? And at the same time, students, if you know what you want to do, like Karan's just put electrical apprenticeships, could you put it in the chat box, please? If it's plumbing, if it's brickies, if it's anything at all to do with home building, just put it down in the chat box. That'll be useful. Sorry, Naz.
No, that's fine. I mean, we are, like, when I left site 3 weeks ago, we were effectively looking for an electrical apprentice, and I know that still will be on the cards when we go back. So we're definitely interested in seeing that talent. We were looking for a bricklayer. We are carpentry always, plumbing. If they're good talent, we will always look at them. I always run them by our supply chain. We try and get a work experience opportunity for them, so we let the supplier see, the contractor see the student, you know, in situ and how they're working and what sort of skills they've got. And usually 9 times out of 10, if they're good, they'll take them. They really will, because they want that talent. And they may not put them on our site. They may say, actually, we're going to go and put them somewhere else where we know that we can, you know, utilize them. They do try as hard as they can to keep them as close to home as they possibly can, but that's not a given. So I would say to all students, please, please, please do keep in touch, keep your details with us, let us know when you're looking, because we will definitely be interested in seeing you.
Okay, and if I'm Tommy, for example, here bricklaying, I'm George, who's looking at carpentry, I'm working with Alex. It's great you guys are putting this down, and I know Alex is across this as well. What can I be doing to try and get myself ready a little bit more? What advice do you have maybe for Alex, who's doing the work, and these guys who are looking to get in? Like, what could we be doing now, and Pathway?
So one of the things that I would definitely say for any prospective apprentice and anybody looking to get into the workplace, regardless of the industry, is I would say do your homework, do your research. Now, yes, it's very, very tricky because so much is going on, but look at all the companies and developments that are going on around you. It's not difficult to find out what's being built, even when you're driving around, or not so much now, but when you've seen developments happening, thinking, oh, I wonder who's there. Google it, have a look, see who the developer is, see who the contractor is that are working, see who is managing those sites, and then look them up. On our site, you can look at all the developments that we're currently on and in production on. So you can have a look at what we're doing, what our proposed plans are. Southall itself has its own website, Southall Waterside. You can go through it, you can see what the development is doing, how long it is, how many houses, how long it's been going, you know, get some real information out of it, so then you can understand what we're about, what we're doing. And, you know, you don't have to be hugely intelligent to understand that, you know, we're going to need bricklayers, we're going to need carpenters, we're going to need plumbers, electricians. These are all standard trades that we are consistently looking for. One of the things that we're going to be looking at is we've got an on-site landscaper, for example, and they are going to be on our site for a good 10 to 20 years. So we will be looking for staff, even in landscaping. You know, these are all areas that you may not have considered in the past, or you think, actually, I wouldn't mind doing that if you like working outdoors. So think about the things that you want to do and where you see your skills fitting in. So that would be my first tip.
Can I ask a question? Some of the guys have asked if they already started their course and maybe it's like a first and second year, would they be able to do their second year or continue their education while doing their apprenticeship?
It depends on the college and the course they're doing.
Right.
I would say that they would need to speak to their college and their tutors and what course they're currently on. Some colleges are a bit iffy, but some of them, obviously, they still want to retain the student for their own personal numbers. I would say they need to go back to their college, talk it through with their tutors, find out what it is they exactly want to do. Because I know a lot of that does happen a lot. They do 1 year and then they go, do you know what, I really would like to earn some money. So definitely, speak to the tutor first, have a chat with them. We do get, and again, I don't want to be encouraging this because it's not fair to the colleges, but we do get students approaching us saying, actually, I want to come and work with you. How do I do that? So, and, we try our best to accommodate that as well.
Thanks for that, Naz. So I think the message to take away here is do some homework, and we all have a bit of extra time on our hands right now. So a little bit of Googling around is probably a really good idea and a good use of our time. I think what I'd like to move into, Naz, is obviously we've got a number of students and they're requesting all manner of trades, from bricklaying to quantity surveying, electricians and plumbers, and so on and so forth. And that's great that you're into that trade. What else are you looking for? What makes the best applicant shine for you? What are the things that you're looking for in that individual when they apply to be an apprentice at Berkeley Homes?
So we, obviously we're looking for the skill set within the trade that they're involved in, but some of the key skills that I would say for anybody, and again, this is across the board, not just construction, but just generally, I would say we're looking for really good communication skills. We need to see that someone is able to, listen, be able to tell us what they want, what they're doing, how they're doing it, when they're doing it. That's really key. Time management, especially in construction, we need people that have good time management skills, that can turn up on time, that are going to be on site when we expect them to. The hours, we do start early. Some sites you start from 7, some 7:30, some 8, but generally it's between 7 and 8. So we need to see good time management, that you are able to get up in the morning, that you're able to be on time. And even if you're doing say project management or construction management, we need to see that you are able to manage your own time within the day. So if you've got a meeting, that you're able to accommodate that into your diary, and that you're able to realize, actually, I've got another meeting, I need a break, or I need an hour in between to prep for the next meeting. So it's about being diligent with your own time management. We're also looking for people who can work with people at all levels. So someone who is able to take instruction from very senior directors, construction site managers, and also work with their own colleagues and labourers at every level. So you need to be able to adapt yourself to all different types of people within construction, because you will come across them every single day. You will not have a day that is just devoted to working with one type of person. You'll be one day working, as I say, you might have to come into the project office and then suddenly be dealing with finance, and then maybe another time you'll have to come in and deal with, as I say, a construction director or a health and safety manager. So it's being able to adapt yourself and be able to accommodate that. And that kind of leads on to the next one, teamwork. It's about working within a team. Construction is a team environment. It's about all of you building together, despite what your role is in that production. So you have to understand how you fit into that team, but also that you can do, and that you are doing this all together. You can't just build that house on your own. You're doing it with your with your team. And also, if, for instance, you're let's say you're in electrical and they talk about first fit and second fit, you understand, you realize that your role is very key to the next lot of workers that are coming in. So even though your own team you're working in, you're working with another team to ensure that you're supporting them and making sure that they're able to do their role coming forward after you. I think I would be inclined to tell people, as I've said before, appreciate this is a varied role. It's not always the same. The current climate has just shown you it can change from one day to the next. Sometimes there'll be a security risk, sometimes there'll be really bad weather, sometimes there will be a deadline that you have to meet. There will just be so many different targets and expectations of you. So expect a varied role. It's never going to be the same, ever, ever, ever. I've realised that coming into mine. So those are the skills that we would initially expect.
Thank you for that, Naz. So I hope you're all taking notes on this, guys. We will be sending the recording out later on this evening as well, but just jot down what Naz is telling you. Some of the workshops that Pathway are offering over the next few weeks may very well touch on communication and teamwork. So we might be able to help you a little bit more with some of those things that we know Berkeley Homes are looking for, which is fabulous. Thank you, Naz. The other question that we get asked quite a lot is the progression. So if one of my students joined you as a bricklayer and they're on that apprenticeship with you, what does that journey really look like for them, and sort of like over what period of time before they become an official bricklayer, if you like, and a full-time employee of Berkeley Homes?
It's really difficult because a lot of so what our divisions do, we subcontract out to our suppliers. So all our bricklayers are not employed by us directly. They're employed by our subcontractor, obviously, that they work through us and for us, so even though they're on our site. And they sometimes might not even sit on our site for the duration of the build. They might get moved to another site, they might get moved, so it will depend on their own employer. So for example, we have a contractor called Lee Marley, and they're a bricklaying contractor, but they're one of our biggest bricklaying contractors that we have on site. And we know, and they know, that the expectation that we have on our build, so that's why we use them, and we know how they work, they know how we work. But working with them, I mean, we work very closely with them. They understand, as I say, what our requirement is. We will identify when we see really good talent. We will highlight, we will say, actually, this person's really good. They will move up the ranks. They will then move on to, say, site foreman, site manager. They will show the initiative with their employers. Suddenly they're doing courses in health and safety. Suddenly they're being put on courses for, I don't know, I can't even think, for bricklayers, but just general, them showing initiative will progress their own career within that environment. And then sometimes what we do get a lot of is some subcontractor employees move over to us and become site managers, site foremen, and then start becoming involved in the project management and construction management of the actual build itself. So, I mean, the paths are endless. I couldn't even begin to tell you where they would go and how. It depends on the initiative, the talent, and the enthusiasm of the individual.
That's so. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Chris. I was just going to say, just from from our young people, but even my perspective, I happen to be married to a builder, so I'm a little bit quite well versed in this space. But I think the takeaway from that, Naz, is that you can join as an apprentice, but actually there are a ton of routes open to you, and there is no set path. And it's really about how much you want to put in, and I guess how much you want to learn.
Definitely. You will find within the Berkeley group, and I'm sure this is across the industry, a majority of directors and senior directors or board directors, even right up, I mean, our own director, chairman, Tony Pidgley, he was a labourer. That's how they start. They don't all go to university. They don't all study. They have started right from the bottom and worked their way up and become completely successful in their path.
Yeah, this is so interesting, Naz. Thank you very much. So we've been half an hour so far, and Tracy's going to just outline the schedule again in terms of time spans. But we just have one question here on, after this webinar, who would we go to about contacting to try and secure an apprenticeship? Your man is Alex. So Alex is we're gonna have a bit of time maybe at the end of the webinar just to ask Alex. Maybe we call it, and you can ask Alex anything just before he'll be on the phones and contacting, emailing, texting you guys, however you want it next week. But now it's just a question from Ella: are there surveying apprenticeships available or just trades? Good question.
So at the moment, I'm not sure if are looking. I would need to speak to our commercial team, but there is always opportunities for commercial surveying. We get students from different colleges coming in for work experience, and we sort of it's just try as you buy, and sometimes we'll identify something, you know what, they're really, really good. So it's a case of, yes, they are available, those opportunities. Not necessarily, I don't think we've got any immediately, but that may change in 3 months. I couldn't even say. If we had somebody come in and they were absolutely brilliant, we might say, do you know what, we're going to keep you. And that's what happens in construction. It's such a, what's the word? It's so, I don't know if organic's the right word, but it's such an easy opportunity. If you get the right opportunities and get your foot in the door to do the work experience and you're good, you will get taken. There's just no doubt about it, because we won't let you go. We'll be like, no, they're good, we're not letting them.
Fabulous. Sorry, I have one of our attendees who would like to ask you a question. Chris, are we okay to let his audio go on to ask, or is
yeah, if Joseph wants to,
okay,
that's fine.
bear with me, Joseph. There you go, Joseph. You're now part of our webinar. So hi, thanks for joining. And do you want to ask a question?
Unmute.
Joseph, you have to unmute. Tracy, you just have to unmute him, and then Joseph has to just click a button. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Hi, Joseph.
All right, I've got a couple of questions to ask. First of all, about transportation. So, like, for when I'm trying to get to our site, I don't drive or anything like that, and I'm trying to get my driving lessons now, but of course it's COVID-19. What would I have to do?
To get your driving license?
No, not my driving license, like transportation to a work site or something.
So
if I'm not able to get there.
Right, okay. So
That's weird, my bad there.
No, don't worry. Naz, I suppose at the moment you're not open, are you? So when you are open, Joseph will be able to get his transport. Am I right? Is that the right answer potentially?
Yeah, I mean, we're Southall Waterside is right next to Southall Station. We've got all the major bus route links coming into Southall town centre as well. I know from Southall you can get to Paddington, Ealing Broadway on the Central Line. So we're quite well situated as far as public transport links.
Okay.
And I know, I mean, again, it depends. I know a lot of the sites in London, again, with transport, they are accessible.
Sorry, just to add on them, Joseph. I remember Naz saying at the beginning they're playing at other sites as well. So there could be other locations that may be a bit more closer to where you are, or you know, a bit more closer to your transportation. Naz actually covers for the West Thames area, so she's actually speaking from her behalf. But she, as a whole, for Berkeley Homes, there's an array of other places across the board. So when it comes up, you'll be able to say, "Oh, I live here. This is maybe 5 miles away from me, or maybe 2 miles," and they'll say, "No, you'd be more suited in this site than this place." And that's how I know from my experience how they would usually work it, because they want to make sure that you do the work, and they keep the apprentice who will be able to go in, and at least if you're close, they can check to see your time management, they can check to see how you're going, because there's no excuses if you're not on the other side of London. So that's how it usually work. If I'm right, Naz?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Did you have any more questions, Joseph? Otherwise,
yes, I did as well. In the beginning of this year, I had an incident. I've been assaulted for trying to get my property back while I was in a workshop. And I've missed technically a whole year of studying my college. Would I have to redo that year, or could I straight away do apprenticeship and learn from there?
Was you in year 1, Joseph, of your course?
I was in my second year. I was.
So you've already completed your first year. It's just your second year, which has been a bit wobbly.
But that was like multi-trade, so I technically was studying part of the course what I want to do, like bits and bobs about it.
Okay. So I think, Naz, I think we've had a similar question before in terms of what year, what they're at college and when they can actually join Berkeley. But for someone like Joseph, who has effectively done his first year in multi-trade, what would your advice be to him if he wants to apply?
I mean, I would say, in all honesty, and I think Alex might be better positioned to kind of advise Joseph on where he should go and what he should do, because we would then assess, well, what skills has he got, where does he want to go? And it might be a case that Alex has a conversation with him, maybe his tutor, and see where he's at, whether it's worth him doing an apprenticeship, which apprenticeship does he want to do, and identify where his skill set is stronger. That would be my initial advice. I don't know, Alex, if you agree with me on that.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have a chat with everybody more specific on a one-to-one and see where we are, and then also getting opportunities with the colleges so we know where you are and how close or how far you are to the opportunities. And if it deems best, say let's go forward. If it deems best to stay back and do your education, but we're going to find out the best solution for whatever the barriers that comes up.
Okay.
And to be fair, Joseph, when Naz leaves us, we're going to do just a little bit of an extended session with me, Tracy, and Alex. So you can ask us a few more questions then if you want, mate.
Okay.
Tracy, I just wonder if there's any more questions from the students on specific to trades around Berkeley while we've still got Naz here.
Just grabbing them. Sorry, trying to open up.
No worries.
Okay, so here we go. This is coming from Tommy. Thanks, Tommy. What grades are recommended for anyone wanting to go into quantity surveying or site management?
Oh,
tough one.
Do you know what? I don't know, because it depends on what you're studying. So quantity surveying, I know to be a QS, there are certain requirements from with university degrees and apprenticeship degrees. They will be specific on those grades, and it will depend on the university themselves. We've got somebody actually in our office who is going to do a part-time QS qualification, and he was looking at his A levels and whether they were up to speed, and we've got to get them reviewed to see that he's actually able to do the course. So my initial response would be it depends on where you're going to do the course.
Okay, so maybe that's something, Tommy, again, we're gonna stay on a bit later, so make sure that you do connect with Alex, because he might be able to again just talk through some of those elements for you. So great question, thank you, Tommy. Naz, I've got another one come in. This is from George. Here we go. If I have been doing my level 1 carpentry course, but it has ended because of COVID-19, would it be possible to go on to an apprenticeship for next year, or do you have to have a level 1 or level 2 qualification?
No, I don't see why he couldn't do an apprenticeship. If he's got the right talent and the right mindset, I wouldn't see why not. I would definitely say apply. There's no harm in doing that whatsoever.
Naz, what would you say? George, I know the name because he's been on other webinars. Yeah. What would you say to people like George and Ibad, Tommy, names that I keep seeing? What would you say about people who do stuff like this in terms of interviewing with you?
What do you mean with regards to?
Well, most people playing PlayStation, maybe outside at the minute in the sun, but these guys are on a webinar with Berkeley Homes. What does that say about the young person?
Well, it shows the enthusiasm. It shows that they're really interested in getting out to work, and that when we get back on site, that's what we'll be looking at. Like, what have you been doing over the last couple of months? I know you weren't able to go to college, so what did you do? Did you take part in any webinars? Did you do any online learning? Did you do any research work? What have you been doing? And I appreciate you can't be doing 24/7, just like trying to do stuff, but also stuff at home, practical stuff. I helped my parents build a shed or whatever. We can see that there's enthusiasm. We can see that there's somebody willing to do something. I interviewed somebody before we broke up and left the site, and when I said to him, so what have you been doing? And he'd done a construction course, very short construction course. He said, I just want to get on site. I really, really want to work within the industry. And I said, okay, fine. What are you doing at the moment? And he said, I'm doing volunteer work at an animal sanctuary. I'm building pens and cages. And I was just so blown away that this is what this young man was doing. And yes, it was sort of construction-y related, but actually the enthusiasm, and bless him, he was doing it voluntary. because he just wanted to do something practical, that he wanted to just be in the industry wherever he could. And we're going to take him on board. We are going to put him into an apprenticeship. But I thought that was
amazing.
great initiative.
Sorry, we've had another question come in, and I think it's from Joseph again. I'm not sure if we've touched on this point yet.
It's another Joseph, I think.
I think it is another Joseph. How long does it take to complete an apprenticeship with Berkeley Homes? Does that depend on trade, or are they all quite?
It's usually approximately about 2 years.
2 years.
The standard apprenticeship is 2 years. It depends on how many levels. If you're going to go to a level 3, then you have to go and do an additional year.
There you go, Joseph. I hope that's helped. We have another one. Sorry, Naz, I keep wanting to round up with you, but the questions are coming in thick and fast. So we have one here from Louis. Actually, I recognise your name, Louis. I think I've seen a couple of emails from you, so well done. His question and comment is, I've already sorted my CSCS card, but my cousin wanted an apprenticeship as well, but doesn't have a card. Do we have to sort the cards out ourselves before the apprenticeship, or do we do that with you?
Don't do it with us, you do it with your college.
Right, okay.
The college will facilitate, and they will work with you to ensure that gets achieved. That will be part of the course.
Also add here that the Pathway CTM program into home building, that's one of the things that before COVID-19, that was our next component for you guys, was to talk about CSCS cards, because where the employers are not doing them directly, or some of the colleges we know are not doing them directly, that's where Pathway CTM can really help you. So as I say, do stay in touch with us, because over the next few weeks, we will get back to CSCS cards. Obviously, right now, it's probably not as burning, not as pressing, but that was a great question. Thank you. I think what I'd like to do, does anybody else have any questions that they have for Naz? Naz has obviously volunteered her time today, and it's been amazing. I just want to make sure any of our students, if they do have any questions that they want to ask, just pop them up now. Tommy, you really are very keen today. If I've already passed my CSCS and looking to work, are there any job roles that I could apply for this evening? So no pressure,
we love Tommy.
You've clearly got your next apprentice right here.
Oh, bless. Unfortunate, because I'm not, as I say, I'm not even on site, so I couldn't even tell you. And, there isn't anybody, so I couldn't say to you, yeah, there's definitely a job, apply for it now. What I would say, and I was going to say before we finished, is for everybody who's taken part, or who's really interested, or who wants to know more and find out more about the apprenticeships that we're offering, or that we have, or the vacancies we have, please get in touch with Alex. Give Alex your details. Let Alex have a chat with you about where you're at and what you're doing. And then Alex will get in touch with me and say, Naz, I've got this list as long as my arm of people begging to come and work for you, which would be fabulous. It would make my day. And that's what I would say. Please do that. And we will definitely look at you, I promise.
That's fantastic. So we do have another question come in. From Kuran, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm going to allow you to talk. You put your hand up here, Kuran. So if you just bear with me, and I will unmute you, which is not working. Oh, there you go. Kuran, you should be able to speak now.
Yeah. I just had a question. Basically, I was wondering if there was any electrical apprenticeships for next year in June with Berkeley.
When you say next year, do you mean 21?
Yeah, in June, about June, July sort of time, yeah.
To be honest, it will depend on our build programme. I'm sure there will be.
Yeah.
I usually work on the next sort of 3 to 6 months, because I'm working alongside the build programme that we're working on. So, definitely keep in touch. Yeah. Apply, send in your details. We will definitely consider you.
All right. Yeah, thanks.
And Kieran, just to sort of touch base on that, although under this particular programme, we do separate out electrical and plumbing, but we do have other employers that we're working with that will also have those types of apprenticeships. So again, do connect with Alex and stay on the webinar. We're going to wrap it up shortly, but do stay on with Alex, Chris and myself, because we can share that contact information with you, Karen, and make sure that you get that call in with Alex to talk about your options. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Fabulous. Thanks for the great question. Bear with me. I'm just going to, I think that's everyone.
Okay, can I just kick in for 1 second, please? Yeah. Naz, thank you very much for today. Just for the students, some of the questions that I had throughout the week. So just to know the milestones from the time when they do the applications, what would be the journey? And, you know, we spoke to someone I think was doing the Reach apprenticeships, and we're saying that some could be done online, you know, with the apprenticeships or the interviews or so forth. So can you give me an indication of what would happen from today? And they say, for instance, they do the application. I'm not saying today to start, but, you know, once they do the applications, what would happen after that in the transition?
So from today, with the way the current market and the climate is, because I don't know what our workforce numbers are going to look like when we get back on site, because as I say, you know, so few are allowed on site.
Right.
So I think the priority to begin with will be to ensure that our existing contractors get on site and get their feet, you know, sort of under the table, so to speak, and get working. Once the dust settles and hopefully we're sort of getting onto a more even keel, then we can start looking at where we are needing apprentices and where new vacancies that we thought we had, are they still available? So that will start to happen. It will be a slower process than normal. But what I would say in the meantime is get their details, get their CVs, you know, a little bio of what they're looking at, where they hope to, you know, when they're hoping to finish, whether they need to complete more studies, whether there's more theory work. So we've got a good idea of where they're at in their process, and then we can start looking at that. So when we are able to have the conversations with the supply chain, we can say, look, we've got this person, they're ready to go, let's get them in the door, let's do some work experience and let's see what you think. And that's what I would say initially.
Thank you so much.
That's fantastic. Naz, on behalf obviously of the whole team at Pathway and indeed our attendees, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come and help our young people understand a bit more about this. Your insights today have been amazing. And I know we're going to have a number of questions for Alex. So I think what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to say thank you, Naz, and we're going to let you go and continue with your afternoon. And we wish you a fabulous Easter weekend as well. And we look forward to welcoming you back over the next couple of weeks or so.
Definitely. I mean, keep in touch. As I said, Alex, please let me know. And if there's anything else I can do or, you know, help with, then do ask.
I will. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Naz. Thank you. Guys, we're going to keep the webinar open for a little bit longer because we do have Alex with us today. Alex has been pushing out a large number of calls and texts and email to you guys over the last 3 weeks. I know he's had some brilliant conversations, but we're also aware that a number of you have many more questions that you want to ask. So what we'd like to do is almost open a bit of an Ask Alex session. No pressure, Alex, but the spotlight's on you today. If any of our students have any questions from the webinar that you've just heard, or maybe your general questions with any concerns you have at the moment around home building, so please do feel free to raise your hand. And
I was just going to quickly say, Tracy, just to make sure people don't drop off. Alex, are you comfortable with students emailing you?
Yes, so what I've spoken to some, or majority at least today, is to say that from today onwards, I know who the cohort of the guys who are actually looking for work. Yeah. So what's going to happen is that we're going to be doing more of the one-to-one. So email, contact me, show me what your CVs are. You know, it's great that you've heard from Naz. So now we know basically the things that they're looking for. So what we're going to do, what my role is to ensure we build you up to be able to go through that door. So what I need is to have that relationship, start speaking with you, get the idea of what you're looking for. So I can be able to let you know how close or how far you are from being to that job and what actually support do you require. So from now, I mean, those who've put the names down, keep in contact, even if it's a text, WhatsApp, or email. And then what we can do from now on is continue this journey. And even if there's other employers, as I mentioned, I will be able to, once we get the influx and everything calms down, I'll be able to make you aware what's available, make you aware what's going on, what things can be done, where we mentioned that CSCS cards and so forth. So I will be the point of contact, and at least going from the employers and giving information to the students and the colleges, and from you, the students and the colleges, back to the employers. So be able to consolidate all that information to make it better for you to be able to get the opportunities that's available.
Nice. Guys, call to action, right? Alex's email's in the chat box.
Yeah.
Could you please just whack Alex an email now? It doesn't have to be neat and perfect. And just basically say what year you're finishing, whether you want a job this year, 2020, or next year, 2021. And just like you did in the chat box, could you just put what you want? We've already got that information mostly, but I just want to make sure, because basically the 16 people we've got left on this call, Alex is going to prioritize next week. And then just also say to Alex how you want to be communicated with, whether it's text, call, email, because a lot of people don't check emails. A lot of people prefer emails. Let's do that. And then you heard there from Naz, right? She's going to help us get you ready to go. So if you mates with Alex, so to speak, without Alex hearing, and you get on his side and he helps you out with CVs, he helps you out with CSCS cards. If your college isn't going to do it, we'll do it with you, for example. And he makes you ready. It doesn't matter if it's not Berkeley or it's not Persimmon or it's not Barrett. But he's got a link to all those companies. So that's where the conversation starts. And Alex, you're just looking for the students who are the most driven first. That's where you're going to spend your time, isn't it?
Yeah, I just want those who are going to be engaging. Look, you don't have to be the most perfect person or whatever. As long as you're engaging, that's all I need. That's all I need, just to show you've got an interest. And as I've spoken to some of you guys, someone say, look, I'm not looking for this opportunity, or I'm not looking for this work. What we need is communication. Yeah. So once we start this dialogue, we'll be able to know how to work with each other and know how best to do what works for you. I'm not going to tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, I'm going to be able to say, this is what you require. This is the reality. You're going to need this, or you might need to do this and that, so forth, and get you prepared for the workplace and get you prepared for what's out there. Because, what we might do in the future is find out as much information from the employer. So when I come to you, I've already given you a picture of what it's going to be like. So when you step into it, you're not going to be apprehensive of, I don't know what to do or how to go about it. You'll be able to step into a new workplace and be able to act like you've hit the ground running, like you've already been here before. And then they can see your true attributes. And then you never know. Each foreman looks for different things, and then they'll, can make your journey even better. So please, it's the dialogue that we do from today. And as I said to you, it's a partnership. It works with both you and I. We work together. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You don't tell me what to do, but we tell each other what to do. And by doing that, then we'll get closer to your goals.
Nice.
That's a really awesome comment, actually, Alex. That's brilliant. I'd also add here, guys, that as well as access to Alex, you're all on our newsletter, which will be going out this evening instead of tomorrow. But don't forget, on there you'll get access to not just our HBF webinars and the Ask Alex sessions. We do have our core program as well, where you can watch webinars, workshops, and have some templates to cover things like CV writing and cover letters. And I noticed that Naz did talk about that in terms of what she's looking for. So it might be that, if you haven't got them and you want them, ask Alex, but do keep an eye out in your inbox, because we do send these out every Friday. So you'll get all of the recordings of all of the events we've done this week. So if there's any that you're missing, reach out to Alex and he'll certainly send you a link. We've got some questions coming in here, and it's lovely because I can see Dave on here from Nescott College. Hi, Dave. It's good to hear from you. Here we go. This is so Dave at Nescott.
No, so it's okay, Tracy, on that front. But I guess, Tracy, every Thursday you're organising more employers, aren't you? What's next Thursday? Because I'm going to come on every week now, I reckon.
Well, actually, next week is looking quite exciting for us, because we're going to have two panelists on, and one of them is actually going to build HBF themselves. So that's like
the central body, isn't it?
It is the central body. So they work in tandem with the CITB, who are the main institution, as you probably all know. HBF is the Homebuilding Federation, And that's who Pathway CTM are working very closely with in order that we can provide this program for you. So the fact that they're going to volunteer some of their time and answer some of your questions, do tune in next week, because that's going to be pretty special. We also have, sorry, this is quite embarrassing, but we've also got an employer on next week, and I've just got to get their name up, sorry. They're called Regency Homes. That sounds terrible,
so.
Chris. You put me on the spot a little bit.
And it's getting recorded, Tracy, under pressure here.
No, it is recorded too, so no pressure. It's just that I can't seem to escape out of this screen. But we do have,
everyone gets our emails, though, don't they?
Exactly, but it's a new employer for us. This is someone that we've not had on before.
I'm pretty sure he's been a QS and he's set up his own business. So that'll be quite interesting in the construction home building area. So it'll just be like a fresh approach, and just I think we'll just interview him, won't we, and see what he says.
Yeah, they're going to talk a little bit about what they do, because they are quite new to our students. We haven't had them on. We haven't had them on these webinars yet. So they are going to talk a little bit about who they are and what they do, as well as give, I guess, the usual sort of hints and tips in terms of what their apprenticeships look like, what their roles or training program looks like, and how our young people can really get involved. And it's Regency Grove Consultants. So if you guys want to do a bit of Googling in advance, Regency Grove Consultants, you'll find them straight away. And again, that's to talk about the journey into construction, and what they're offering our young people, Chris. So we are actually quite packed for next week, because we'll have Alex on as well. So our students are going to have a number of people that they can talk to and widen that conversation.
Sounds good.
Okay, sorry. Just to follow on with what you're saying, Tracy. Well, guys, also I want to get in like an update to find out if you feel you need any support. So what we're looking to do in the future, for instance, when an employer comes in and they say we need this, we can then be able to help you. I mean, at the moment, I'm not able to see you, you're not able to see me, but we can do something via the webinar, and then we can at least maybe have a core group who's saying, look, we need help with the CV, or we need help with the online application, or we need help with this and that, or statements or so forth. Then what if there's enough people that we think there's a need, then we can just all put it together. So I will be coming and find out from you guys, if maybe get some feedback to find out, yeah, we require this kind of support or this kind of service, and then we'll be able to tailor it according to each employer and according to what the industry requires. So by the time you get out there, you don't have to, you'll be ready, while a lot of other people are not doing this. So what will happen is, once everything gets calm and get ready for employer, they're going to have to start then. Well, you would already have the upper hand because you've already been doing the stuff throughout this period. So let's utilize this time effectively, all right?
That's a really good note to end it on, Alex. So I think you guys have heard a lot today, and I'm sure there's a lot for you to go through, but just remember those key takeaways, that this situation is not going to last forever. And when the fog does clear, it does look like the construction and home building industry is probably going to increase their recruitment drive. So the work, the research, learning how to write a CV, researching some of these home building companies instead of maybe playing with the Xbox for half an hour, this is all really valuable, and you have an opportunity to do it. So do take that advice. Do reach out to Alex. He is going to prioritize the first bunch of you that email him. So get your emails in quick, because he will stick to his word on this. Shout out to us if you need any other support. Alex is your main go-to contact, but Chris and I are here too. We're all kind of working together just to support you guys over the next few weeks during this, and obviously beyond that, when these roles really start to open and we can be a bit more accurate with start dates and such. So do a bit of homework, play as well, but just get the balance right. It's been great to see you all today. Alex and Chris, I'm going to let you sign off and say goodbye to our young people.
Yeah, definitely. We've still got 13 on, which is great. Well done, guys, because I love it when people stay towards the end. And do email Alex, take Tracy's advice. Could people just whack in the chat box for me just what you thought of the session, if it helped you or not, or if there's any recommendations of what you want to see next, just so I can have a look at it now. Just whack it in the chat box, any feedback. Thanks very much, and good luck. Alex?
Yeah, same. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate you coming in. And looking forward to see what's going to happen for the following week. So let's see what we can do, and hopefully we have some success stories in a few weeks or a few months time. So I'll speak to you soon, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thanks very much, guys. We'll catch you all next week. Have a great Easter. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.